Good day, Philippines. Hello, Region 1. Aloha, San Carlinian learners. Airing live from the mango bamboo capital of the Philippines, San Carlos City. You're tuning in to CCN Broadcast Center, a virtual home of every SDO-SEC learner, where passion is the key. Learning paves the way. With our division mantra, developing creativity, maximizing versatility. This is your CCN Broadcast Center. CCN Broadcast Center, a virtual home of every SDO-SEC learner.
Annyeonghaseyo, grade 10 students! Welcome to another video lesson in Science 10. This time, we'll be having Module 2 for our Quarter 3. By the way, I am Teacher Len or Ma'am Arlene T Abellera of CEPNAS, and I welcome you to my virtual class. Before we begin, may I ask you to bring out your materials such as your module, your paper, your pen, and some coloring materials. I hope everybody is okay, just like me. So, before we start our lesson, let us try to recall some important words from our previous lesson. So, I have prepared here a crossword puzzle with 10 words. 5 are written across and 5 are down. Don't worry because I'll be giving out 7 free letters for you. So let's start. The first word is written across, is composed of 3 letters, female sex cells. And you have 3 counts for that. 1, 2, 3. What is your answer? Let's see. Yes, you're right. It's egg. Let's now try number 3. Number 3, passageway for menstruation and baby. What is your answer? 1, 2, 3. Let's see the answer. Yeah, it's vagina. Okay, we go to number 5. It controls the activity of other glands. And as you can see, it is quite a long word. Actually, there are 2 words there. So, please leave a blank between the 2 words. Okay? But I have provided 3 free letters there for you. So, are you ready now? Hana, dulcet. Okay, so it is the pituitary gland. Now, let's go to number 7. This word is responsible for typical female sex characteristics and starts with letter E. What is your answer? Isa, dalawa, tatlo. Yeah, it's the hormone estrogen. And the last word written across is number 8, the site of zygote implantation. Okay, so what do you think is that word? 1, 2, 3. Yes, it's the uterus. Now we're done with the words written horizontally. Let's go to the 5 other words written vertically. Let's start with number 1. Number 1, prepares and maintains the uterus for pregnancy. What do you think is that word? 1, 2, 3. Yes, it is another hormone, progesterone. How about number 4? Number 4 produces egg cells. Okay? And starts with letter O. 1, 2, 3. Yes, these are your ovaries. Or, in our puzzle, it's ovary. How about number 6? Number 6, chemical messengers secreted by endocrine glands. Make your guess. 1, 2, 3. Yes, these are your hormones. Number 9, another name for fallopian tube. And again, it starts with letter O. So what do you think it is? Isa, dalawa, tatlo. Yes, this is the oviduct. And the final word is the male sex cells. So, ano kaya yon? 1, 2, 3. Yes, the sperm. So, I know that you got it all correct. Congratulations, dear guys. Let's move on. So, have you heard of this song? We don't talk about period, no, no, no. We don't talk about period. But, well, it's not about Bruno. Our topic is about this next song. So, if you love singing, let's watch the video of Bandita Narayan and you may sing along as you listen to the song.
I love being a woman, don't get me wrong, but it's that time of the month, so here's my period song. Yep, that's right, I said period. I'm laughing 1 minute and crying the next, watching cheesy rom-coms while missing my ex. I'm gonna eat all I want in my TN tracks, curled up in my bed with my heating pad. So it's funny how you want me to be keeping up with all your expectations. Don't be doing this thing, don't be doing that thing, making me feel like it's a lifelong disease. Everybody says talking about vagina is wrong. That's exactly why I wrote this period song. You're probably thinking, oh, this is not so ladylike. That's exactly why I wrote this period song. La 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 la. For all the boys out there who think periods are gross, didn't you come out of a woman? Just stop the jokes. To tell you the truth, these pads are a pain. They leak a lot and leave us with a bloody stain. And that was a moment of silence for all the underwear we've lost because of pads. Oh, but mama always told me there's nothing that can hold me down. I could be owning the world, so what if I am a girl? 'Cause anything a man can do, I can do it bleeding.
Well, did you like the song? Okay, so let's talk about it. I have here 3 questions for you to answer. You can have your own reflection, or you can also send your answer to your teachers in any platform that you are able. Say for example, you can call them, or you can send them a message, or you can write down your reflection and then send it together with your other answer sheets. So the first question is, how did you find the lyrics of the song? Which line strikes you most? If you are a girl, would you like to share your period experience? What are the things older people tell you not to do or eat during period? And if you're a gentleman, what do you often observe with females when they have their periods? I know you have varied answers, and all your answers will be accepted as correct. So let's move on. Okay, so from listening to that song, you already know that our topic is the female reproductive system and the menstrual cycle. And it is taken from our milk. Describe the feedback mechanisms involved in regulating processes in the female reproductive system, such as the menstrual cycle. And for our learning from home, we are going to have 2 goals. First is to relate the menstrual cycle of the female to the ability to get pregnant or reproduce. And the last is to spread awareness within the family about family planning and the national crisis on teenage pregnancy. So, my dear students, I urge you to ask the guidance of your parents or any adult in the family to watch this lesson with them. So, with that, let's proceed. So, men and women are created equal in the eyes of God. So, the issue or the topic on menstruation should be everybody's concern. So, let's do our first activity, and I entitled it, The Wheel Keeps on Turning. So, do you know what this circular thing is? That one? Okay, it is called the menstrual cycle diagram. Okay, I will guide you as we perform this activity, so you don't have to worry. So for our activity, let's think about these questions first. You don't need to answer them, just think. Have you ever wondered how menstrual period works, especially if you're a guy? Why does it come every month, ladies? It's so annoying. What does it have to do with getting pregnant? So, if you are curious with these questions, let's explore the menstrual cycle. And for this activity, we need the following materials. First, you need to have a separate sheet of paper, ball pen and pencil, ruler, and compass, or any round object available at home, and of course, some coloring materials. So, let's proceed. This is our steps. Okay, first, let us look at the diagram on the left. Again, that is the menstrual cycle diagram. Take a look. It's not a bicycle wheel. Then, after examining the numbers there and the lines, let's answer some questions. First question, how many days do we usually have in a month? Okay, think. Of course, you know that very well. You might say 28, 29, 30, 31, but the average would be, yes, you're right, 30 days. Now, looking back at the diagram, how many days do we have in a menstrual cycle? Base your answer on the diagram. Okay, so your answer is 28 days? Correct. Let's move on to letter C. This time, you need to bring out your coloring materials. So, color the days in the diagram based on the descriptions below. So, for letter C, the periodic or regular shedding of tissues and blood from the inner lining of the uterus is called the menstruation, or other people call it period. Okay? It could be described as the discharge of blood from the uterine wall. In Filipino, regla. These days are numbers blank, and we're going to use purple, okay, the color of the year. So, you may ask, if you're a boy or you're a gentleman, kindly ask the female members of your family how many days do they have their menstruation. If you're a girl, you know the answer, of course. So, let's see. Yes, days 1 to 7, and that should be colored purple. Okay, but we have to think of this. Different girls have varied menstruation length, but the usual is 5 to 7 days. And as we go old, there will be a lot of changes. Okay? So, let's move on. Letter D. Uterine lining starts to thicken with new layer of tissue. An egg is developing in the ovary, and this is called the follicular phase and covers the first half of the menstrual cycle. Okay, there's a hint there. First half. Okay, these days are numbers blank and will be colored green. I hope you know the answer. It's very easy. Okay, let's see. Yes, half means 28 divided by 2, 1 to 14 days. And of course, that would be colored green. And let us take note, while menstruation happens in the early part of this phase, the ovaries are simultaneously preparing to ovulate again. Parang nanggaling yata dyan yung pangalan na kuratsa, babaeng walang pahinga. Okay? It continues like a wheel. Okay? Let's proceed to letter E. The day when an egg may be released from any of the two ovaries is on day blank. It is a very special day, okay? Especially for married couples. And this is called ovulation and will be colored blue. Okay, another clue there, it is halfway in the cycle. Halfway. Okay, let's see. Yes, you're right. 14, day 14. And you should color that blue. So, a female can get pregnant many times. Okay, the possibility. Okay, although ovulation is just a one-day occurrence. And, you know, our egg survives only 12 to 24 hours after ovulation. But you know, conception can occur within a 6-day window. So, the 5 days leading to ovulation and the day of the ovulation. So, making it quite longer. And of course, the peak of this is on day 14. Okay? So, for our letter F, what will happen if the egg was not fertilized or implantation did not occur? So, hormonal changes now signal the uterus to prepare to shed its lining. And the egg breaks down and is shed along with lining. And this is called the luteal phase. And it happens on days blank. We're going to color this orange. Of course, there are still parts of the diagram that do not have color. So that could be a hint for you. Yes, you're right. That's days 15 to 28. And again, you have to take note. This phase starts right after the ovulation and lasts until the next period. So it is seamless, like a wheel, okay? And I have to tell you this, gentlemen. You may not be aware of this. On days 26 to 28, PMS or Pre-Menstrual Syndrome symptoms peaks. Like we have pimples, headaches, fatigues, dizziness, mood swings or mood changes, bloating, pain, swelling of the breast, and food cravings. Or in short, these 3 days are what we call the krong-krong days. Okay? We have mood swings. So if we're going to think about it, please treat us with kindness, with consideration for 10 days each month. Bakit po 10 days? 3 days PMS and 7 days period. Okay, thank you for that. And for our last question, what might happen if the egg was fertilized by a sperm? So don't answer it yet. Let's look at this animation. There goes the egg and there goes the sperm. And then there's implantation. So what do you think will happen? Yes, you're right. Pregnancy will happen. Okay? So ganun po yun. Now, let us summarize what we have done in that activity. So, our improved version of the wheel or the menstrual diagram would be like that. How colorful, right? So, from our activity, we've learned that there are 2 phases of the menstrual cycle. We have the follicular and the luteal phase. Under the follicular phase, we have days 1 to 14, including na po dyan ang days 1 to 7 menstruation and a very special day, ovulation on day 14. And the rest of the menstrual cycle is under the luteal phase. Okay, so menstruation is governed by the endocrine system. There is a strong interaction between the endocrine system and the reproductive system. And we must remember that the anterior pituitary and the ovaries releases hormones for menstruation to take place. So there are 4 important menstrual hormones and let us look at their functions. So under anterior pituitary, we have the follicle stimulating hormone, or we simply call it FSH. And the other one is the luteinizing hormone, or the LH. Now, I will give you a mnemonic device. Where can you find your anterior pituitary? It's in your head. Remember, LH and FSH both have H, okay? Hormone head. Now, for the ovaries, we have the estrogen and the progesterone. So, what are their functions? The follicle stimulating hormone, or the FSH, is responsible for the follicular growth in the ovaries. And this follicular growth excretes estrogen. Okay? The LH causes ovulation and the formation of corpus luteum. And this corpus luteum secretes progesterone. So, the anterior pituitary signals the ovary to release the progesterone. The estrogen, on the other hand, thickens the endometrium and stimulates the pituitary gland to release LH for ovulation. So, there is a two-way relationship between the anterior pituitary and the ovaries. And for the progesterone, it also thickens the endometrium and it inhibits the FSH and the LH during the luteal phase. So I hope that is clear with you. Let's now move on. Menstruation is quite an interesting process. And gentlemen, let me tell you this. Menstruation or period is not solely a girl thing, okay? You must know what is happening to us ladies. So, menstruation is governed by a biological feedback system. Okay, what is a feedback mechanism and how does it affect the menstrual cycle? Okay, so feedback mechanism or loops, again loop, okay, are biological processes that maintain homeostasis or body balance. And we have two types. We have the positive and the negative feedback. The positive feedback simply intensifies a response. And of course, the negative feedback reduces the effect of a stimulus. So if we're going to look at the feedback loop in menstruation, it would start with the hypothalamus releasing the gonadotropic releasing hormone or the GnRH to the pituitary. Again, the hypothalamus is in our brain. And this GnRH will now trigger the pituitary to release FSH. And this FSH will stimulate follicle maturation in the ovary. Now, the follicles in the ovary will release estrogen to cause endometrial thickening. And lastly, if there is endometrial thickening, estrogen at mid-cycle causes again the pituitary to release LH but stop FSH. As you can see, there is a balance between the positive feedback and the negative feedback in our menstrual cycle. Okay, so to understand this further, I have here 4 instances wherein we can see or we can study feedback mechanism in the female. So we have here the first one. Do you know what that is? How about this one? Okay, and the third one? And the last one? Okay, do you know what they are? Yes, you're right. The first one is menstruation. And what do you think it is? Positive or negative? By experiencing pain, ladies, you know that this is negative. How about number 2? What do you think is that? It's ovulation. And ovulation is positive. I will explain later why. How about the third one? That is childbirth. You're right. And that is, of course, positive. How about the fourth one? That is lactation or breastfeeding. And that is again positive. Now you might be asking, why is number 3 considered positive? It's painful to give birth. Yes, you're right. But let us examine the description. Menstruation says there, Estrogen and progesterone inhibit. The word there is underlined, inhibit FSH and LH. As what I have explained earlier, when we say negative, there is a reduction of response. So the word there, inhibit, tells us that there is a reduction or there is a negative impact. How about ovulation? What makes it positive? During ovulation, there is a burst of FSH, LH, and estrogen. How about in childbirth? Childbirth causes contractions that further stretches the walls. So, if there are no contractions, the baby will not be able to come out of the mother's womb. So, although it is painful, these contractions will allow the baby to pass through normally, or else we will opt for cesarean operation. And the last one, it is positive because when the baby sucks the mother's breast, it stimulates milk production. So if the baby continuously do this, there will be a continuous flow of mama's milk. Okay, so I hope you are enlightened about this feedback mechanism. So with that, we are going to have another activity. So you know very well, gentlemen, if you are well informed of the cycle that we undergo monthly, what we call the period or the menstrual cycle, you will be well informed, okay? And you know, the information about menstrual cycle, menstruation, period, ovulation will help us to deal with social problems such as unwanted and early pregnancy. What else? Sexually transmitted diseases. What else? Population explosion. And of course, abortion. So, as a student and as an adolescent, are you open-minded? Okay, if you are, let's do the next activity to enlighten you more about menstruation and pregnancy. And for this activity, we are going to make use of the same materials we have used in the first activity, but we need another blank menstrual cycle diagram, okay? Because this time, we are going to rename it the ovulation chart, okay? So, these are the steps. First, we get a separate sheet of paper for your answers. You copy again the menstrual cycle diagram, but this time we label it the ovulation chart. And for the second step, we're going to make use of 3 colors only. We have green, yellow, and red. Parang traffic lights lang, okay? So, mark the unfertile, the likely to be fertile, and the most fertile days. So for our unfertile days, it's green. For our likely to be fertile days, it's going to be yellow and red for the most fertile days. Are you ready? Okay, so green or go is for days 17 to 28. And for our likely to be fertile will be days 1 to day 11. And our red will be when? Okay, 5 days po yan. That would be day 12 and up to day 16. Okay, so these 5 days are considered to be most fertile, and you must remember that the peak of this fertility is on the 14th day. So I hope you are now aware about this ovulation chart. Okay, and the second part of this is for us to think about scenarios that are crucial to sexually active couples. Of course, there will come a time that you guys will get married. Okay? So just be open-minded and supply the best possible and most honest answer you can give. That's why I'm encouraging you to ask your parents or any adults to be with you while viewing this lesson. So you may interview them or ask them to provide you with the needed information. So let's check the first one. During fertile days, if a married couple decides not to have a child yet and they should practice safe sex, what are the common methods of contraception available to couples? This is family planning, okay? So you may ask them, okay, go ahead, ask them, what are the contraceptive methods that they are using? Don't be shy. So, what do you think? Is their response? Let's see kung ganito din ba. Okay, this could be the possible answers. Implants, intrauterine devices or IUDs, injections, pills, sterilization, condoms, and natural methods. I'm sorry I cannot discuss comprehensively these things, but I guess in your MAPE, they will be discussed. So let's proceed to the next. Based on your understanding, which type of birth control device or method is best used for safe sex to prevent the spread of STI or sexually transmitted infection? By the way, STI is also known as STD or sexually transmitted disease. And of course, ask them why. Okay, so ask them, what is the safest method? Okay, and why? Why do they think it's the safest? Or maybe you already know the answer. Okay, let's see if you're correct. Well, based on studies, the best way to lessen the risk of STIs or STD is to use condom, a physical barrier between you and your partner which prevents the spread of germs and semen. And FYI, condoms are not only for gentlemen. There are also condoms designed for ladies. But in the Philippines, I don't think it is commercially available na. Okay, and the last one, what is abstinence? You have with you your dictionary. You may look it up. And you can also ask them. Kung hindi nyo alam, I will tell it to you now. In Tagalog, it is, or in Filipino, it is pagtitiis, pagpipigil. And how does it help in birth control and preventing the spread of STI? Ask them. Pwede bang no? Sabi ni Mrs. kay Mr. Okay? So, yes. Complete abstinence is the only way to guarantee protection against STIs. This means avoiding all types of intimate genital contact. And you know, my dear students, you are still very young. So, abstinence is really a big word. And combined with abstinence, you should also practice chastity. Again, that's another big word. So, please look it up in your dictionary. Chastity. Okay? So, let's move on. For our extension, we can do two activities, okay? I would like you to bring out your camera or just simply take a screenshot because you're going to make a decision whether to do option 1 or option 2. So for option 1, you're going to watch a YouTube video together with your family members because you're going to ask for their reaction and resolution. Okay? Because 2019 was declared as a teenage pregnancy national social emergency. So, this is to spread awareness about teenage pregnancy. The second option would be for you to have a collaboration with either your siblings or your parents, your cousins, or friends that are within your community to select any of these awareness campaigns, be it slogan, poems, poetry, song, jingle, poster, comic, strip, skit, or short film about teenage pregnancy. Again, you have your option to do it in English, Filipino, or in your mother tongue, as long as it is free of vulgar words. And you are to limit it in 2 minutes. You have, if it is a performance, you have to submit your digital copy. And in your module, there is a scoring rubric for you to be guided. Okay? So, huwag kayong mawalan ng interest. You know, you have to make me proud. You have to make your parents proud, and also you have to make your school proud. Kasi masaya ang mag-aral, lalo na kung may kasama. So if you're not yet motivated to do that, let me motivate you animately. Minasan! Ganbate! Ne? Okay? So, I know that you have understood fully our lesson, so let us test your understanding. Kindly bring out another clean sheet of paper and choose the letter of your answer. Okay, let's start with the first one. Menstruation is a sign that a female is blank. A, already menopausal. B, already pregnant. C, capable of producing offspring. D, capable of reproduction. 3 counts. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's check your answer. Yes, correct. It is C, capable of producing offspring. Moving on to question number 2. Menstruation is a monthly occurrence. When will there be menstruation? A, when the egg is not fertilized by a sperm. B, when the egg is released from the ovary. C, when the egg meets the sperm. Or D, when the egg reaches the uterus. Okay, write down your answer. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's see. Yes, when the egg is not fertilized by a sperm. Our third question is, psychological processes are commonly moderated via 2 distinct feedback mechanisms, the positive and the negative feedback. Which of the pairs of events and feedback regulation is incorrect? Again, incorrect. A, childbirth is to positive feedback. B, lactation is to positive feedback. C, menstruation is to negative feedback. D, ovulation is to negative feedback. So what is your answer? Hana, do, set. Okay, so the answer is D. Ovulation is a positive feedback. Keep that in mind. Let's move on to question number 4. During the first half of the cycle, which feedback mechanism keeps levels of SFH, LH, estrogen, and progesterone relatively stable? Okay, A, combined, B, negative, C, neutral, or D, positive. 1, 2, 3. And your answer should be, yes, negative. Okay, and the last question is, which hormone helps control the menstrual cycle and stimulates the growth of eggs in the ovaries? A, follicle stimulating hormone. B, luteinizing hormone. C, progesterone. D, testosterone. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the answer is letter A, follicle stimulating hormone. Again, let us check your answers. What was your score? I hope you have learned a lot, and if you have lower than 5, don't worry, because you can rewatch this video lesson and check where you have the misconception. Okay? So, with that, it was really a joyful learning, dear learners. Aloha! I will be meeting you again in our face-to-face, hopefully. God bless you all. Goodbye.
Good day, Philippines. Hello, Region 1. Aloha, San Carlinian learners. Airing live from the mango bamboo capital of the Philippines, San Carlos City. You're tuning in to CCN Broadcast Center, a virtual home of every SDO-SEC learner, where passion is the key. Learning paves the way. With our division mantra, developing creativity, maximizing versatility. This is your CCN Broadcast Center. CCN Broadcast Center, a virtual home of every SDO-SEC learner.